no one is above the law. The people have had enough. We will root out the criminals and expose them all. We're fighting to expose the criminal element in Texas. Our investigation in the Brazoria County's justice system has just begun.
And now your host, Kevin Henry.
Welcome back to the show. Before we get started, please smash that like and subscribe button. That way you'll always be up to date with our latest episodes. Tonight, a young mother, Michaela Jeffries, a quiet Texas town, and the death that still has no answers. I'm Kevin Henry, and today we're pulling back the curtain on what's being called a tragedy, but smells more like a cover-up. To help us shine a light on this terrible tragedy, we have Michaela's mother, Paula Jeffries, and grandmother, Betty, to discuss the case and how the Sweeny Police Department and Brazoria County District Attorney Tom Selleck have been failing their family. They still don't have any answers, and we're looking to get them some. Welcome to the show, Paula and Betty.
Thank you.
I know this is difficult to talk about. It's been, 8 months since the tragedy?
The 15th will be 8 months.
Can you tell us about Michaela and what she meant to you and your family and her friends around you and her son?
Michaela was, we were born and raised in Sweeny. She'd never been anywhere else. Michaela was into rodeos. She played softball on the drill team all through high school. She was a great person. She was the friend that everybody would call when they needed somebody to talk to. She was the person that would go above and beyond for anybody to put a smile on somebody else's face, no matter what she was going through. She was a very loving person, very kind-hearted, always had a smile on her face, loved kids. Every job that she ever talked about growing up was dealing with kids and making a difference in a kid's life. She went to school, criminal justice, got her degree, was working at the county in the boot camp department, got married to Michael, and because men worked there, he basically made her quit.
So he was possessive? Very
possessive. Didn't want her to be around guys of any kind, no matter how long they had been friends.
He didn't want her around family. He pulled her away from us.
So he separated her from you guys as well?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Before she came to work at the daycare with me, I probably hadn't seen her in a year or so. She wouldn't show up at Coulter's games. She wasn't allowed to be there. And she didn't start showing up until she was trying to get custody of him. Then he would let her come, but he was always with her. But she really never was allowed to be around us. And when she came to work at the daycare, she would say, "Oh, Nanny, I didn't know we had this in common," if we were in the kitchen or whatever. "Oh, Nanny, this reminds me so much of you." And she just touched the lives of all the kids. We had one little boy who didn't want to talk, and he's almost 5. And Michaela brought it out in him. All the kids miss her. They don't know why she's not there still. They're just not old enough to understand, so we've never told them. But they look for her.
Right.
If somebody comes in that has the same kind of hair Michaela did, they'll holler, "Hey, Nanny, there's Michaela." And we all turn around and look still.
That has to be difficult.
It's very hard. And one of the kids that go to the daycare, his mom was part of the juvenile system. And when she found out Michaela was murdered or killed or whatever you want to call it, she freaked out because she loved Michaela. And Michaela touched her life and changed her. And now she's being a mother to her child, and it's all because Michaela touched her. And that's just the way Michaela was. Whoever met her left knowing that Michaela was somebody very, very special.
So she was special to everybody?
Everybody she came across.
Very well known in the community?
Very well. And when she came and asked me about going to work with me, I'm like, yes, because I knew it would get her out of the house and I would get to see her because I missed her and I haven't seen her. And she was right there. She was trying to get her director's license. That's what she was striving for. And she also wanted to open a bakery up in town called Michaela's Bakery Bliss.
So she liked to cook.
She loved to cook. She was a fantastic little cook.
What was her favorite thing to cook?
Peanut butter cake after
Peanut
my
butter,
grandma.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Nobody's been able to make my mother's peanut butter icing but Michaela.
She can do it.
She could do it. And she made the best peanut butter fudge ever.
Yes.
That's what her brother always loved. Just make me some fudge.
So Michaela touched a lot of lives. Very well loved. Very outgoing, outspoken. How was she with Coulter?
Coulter was her everything.
And how old is Coulter?
Coulter is 8.
So Coulter is was her son, or
Yes.
is her son. So
Is her son.
And 8 years old. That was her best friend. He was her best friend.
Yes. They were inseparable in the beginning until she got with Michael.
And then there was distance.
She used to sit on the sidelines of every sporting event that Coulter was involved with. And Coulter played every sport there was. He was a very athletic kid that he also got from Michaela, because Michaela was athletic until Michael became part of the picture. And then she gradually just stopped showing up. If you looked at a photo album of pictures of her with her first husband and being happy, you can tell when the relationship started with Michael, because the facial expressions, her pictures were not that bubbly person.
She wasn't glowing anymore.
Yes.
I've seen that with a lot of people in different relationships that, you see somebody that's happy-go-lucky, and then when they get with somebody else, they just seem like a totally different person. It sucks the life out of them.
Yes.
Did she ever cry out to you guys about anything that she was afraid of at home with him?
She never said anything that she was afraid of. She painted him as the best person ever.
Yes. She always talked good about him. But he showed up at the daycare one day, and Coulter hadn't done anything because I have cameras and I can see all the classrooms. And he come pulling Coulter up front, telling him to sit down and write sentences because he said so. And I'm like, excuse me, this is my daycare. I said, so Coulter doesn't have to sit in here and write sentences. If he did something wrong, then his mother can tell him to write the sentences.
He showed up out of the blue to your daycare
Yes.
to sit him down and make him write sentences.
Yes. I looked at Michael because he said, I'll just take him with me. And I'm like, oh, no, sir, you will not. And Michaela said, Nanny, just drop it, please. And I'm like, no, I'm not. He's not taking that baby out of this daycare. I will have the PD here quick, fast, and in a hurry. I said, he's not going anywhere with him. I read people. And I knew from the beginning he was trouble. But Michaela she just slowly just withdrew from everybody and everything. She had a best friend in school. They did absolutely
Since
everything
kindergarten.
together.
Emma Frankham was her best friend since kindergarten.
And she cut it off with Emma. And I would tell her, now, Michaela, you need to make it up to Emma. You need to make up with her. She's your best friend. And she's like, I can't.
So he basically removed everybody out of her
Everybody.
life.
The only people that were involved with Michaela at the end was him and his sister.
And it seems like, to me, somebody that would remove a child from their mother and put that line of division in that mother-son relationship can't be a good person by any stretch of the imagination.
He has kids in Florida.
He has 2 boys of his own that the state of Florida took from him. He will never have custody of those kids because of the violence to their mother that we did not know till later in the picture.
What did Michaela see in this man?
I honestly don't know.
I have no idea.
Did
She
y'all ever
would-
ask her?
Yeah, we would. And she would never come out and say anything. If I would bring up, something ain't right, isn't it not weird that you're not allowed to do anything unless the sister is with you or he's with you? Like, you're not allowed to even come to your own parents' house unless they're with you.
What would she say when you would bring that up?
Mom, he's really not a bad guy. Give him a chance.
Did you guys know about the assault charges in Florida?
No,
No.
At the time, you didn't know anything about that?
no.
So nobody ever really looked into his past behaviors or his criminal history?
It was not, we didn't even know that they were getting married. They had only been dating for not even 2 months before they got married, and went and got married and nobody even knew about it. And then as soon as Coulter's dad, Corey, found out, he did a full background check, and that's when stuff started coming out. And that's when we started questioning her. And he painted this great picture, and he had done the counseling. He had changed. That they were lying on him. And I'm not going to lie to you, the very first time after I seen him, after Corey coming to me with the background check, I looked at him and I said, I'm going to tell you something. I've got 4 words for you. Fuck around and find out. You mess with my daughter and you will find out one way or the other. Don't play with me.
You told Michael that?
I sure did.
What did he say?
He was like, well, I guess we'll find out.
He told you that?
I kind of just looked at him like, whoa, wait. Like, what do you mean? And he's like, you'll never believe me when I tell you I changed. You're right.
So you confronted him. You say that.
And then that's when everything stopped. There was no communication for probably 6 months, not even a phone call, until she called and said that her car had gotten repoed.
She constantly changed her number, or he did. I mean, she always had a new number. There was no way to ever reach her.
Took her off of social media.
What do you think was going on? Both of you guys, what do y'all think was going on at home?
I feel he was trying to force her into having a baby because he wanted that kid so that he could have that other piece of power over her. And she struggled to have Coulter. And she did everything in her power to try to make him happy, but still yet do what she needed to do to protect her own body. And she had 2 miscarriages in a year.
2 in a year. That's got to be hard too.
Like, she had a miscarriage in April and then pregnant again in May.
Did she let you know that she was pregnant in May?
She did. She let us know at a family get-together that we had had. She had come out and told us because my niece was pregnant as well. So she was, cutting up, laughing and joking about how they were going to get to be pregnant together.
Do you think that there was any assault or battery going on at the time that she was losing the babies because of that?
I honestly, because we never were around her. We never got to see her. We never seen anything. And when we did see her, it was 5 or 10 minutes, and she always was in long sleeves and pants.
There was probably possibly battery.
I'm sure there was.
I can't speak on this from personal experiences because I've never lost a loved one to a tragic death like this. But can you take us back to that day?
It was November 15th, 2024. They were living at Windmill Run. Michaela had left work from the daycare with my mom because she wasn't feeling good that day. And she left there around 11:30, and she went home, and I wasn't notified until around 3:20 when my mom called me to tell me that there had been a murder at the apartment complex in Michaela's apartment. It was a neighbor of Michaela's that even notified us.
Where were you at?
I was at work in Angleton.
You were all the way in Angleton.
Yes. And I left work immediately, made it to the police department around probably 3:50, 3:55-ish. We never seen anybody. Nobody even come out to try to talk to us or anything until after 5 o'clock. And the first person we come in contact with was Mitch.
What was going through your mind in that 20-minute ride from Angleton to Sweeny?
My personal thoughts were, please, Lord, let me tell you, she had enough and she done it. She took care of the problem. I would rather visit her in jail than have to visit her in the ground. That was my thought process at that time.
So at that time, there was never a thought that your daughter was
that it was her.
Dead. It never crossed your mind.
Never crossed my mind.
Tell me how you found out.
Officer, patrolman, whatever you want to call him, Mitch Farrell, walked out, asked if he could speak to us. So me, myself, my husband, and Corey, Michaela's ex-husband, stood there and was talking to Mitch, and Mitch asked can you tell me what medications Michaela takes? Because Michael said that's the reason she killed herself. So, of course, I started freaking out. Asked him, did Michael also tell you that he took Michaela's medications and disposed of them because he wanted to have a baby? And that Michaela is petrified of a gun. So she didn't kill herself. This is bullshit. Let me talk to Michael. And at that time, he told me that if I went by him, that he would arrest me and take me to jail.
Mitch
told me he would take me to jail if I tried to go talk to Michael.
So he's threatening to arrest a grieving mother that he just informed that his daughter's dead by asking what kind of medication she was on.
Yes, sir.
Is this the same Mitch that the town, I know this is a little vulgar, but the town calls him Mitch the bitch?
Mitch the bitch, Mitch the snitch. He is not a favorite officer in Sweeny by many.
So, Paula, I'm a bit unclear of the timeline. Can you repeat it, please?
She was at work at the daycare. She left at 11:30-ish. Around 3:15, we got the phone, or my mother got the phone call from that neighbor from Windmill Run. I got the phone call around 3:20. I left from Angleton, arrived at the police department around 3:55-ish. Got the lovely pleasure of meeting with Officer Mitch Farrell around 5 o'clock. Michael was taken out of the back of the police department and released back to the crime scene location in between 5:30 and 5:45. We asked about the crime scene investigators and all that. Had they been contacted? We didn't get an answer. We seen them arrive at the PD at 6:05-ish, and then they left the PD and went to the apartment around 6:10.
Michaela left at 11:30. She wasn't feeling well. She left at 11:30 at the daycare.
Right.
Went to the apartment, and the 911 call was at what time? Was that 12:01, I believe?
12:01 is when the 911 call was received,
So
which was 31 minutes after the time that she had left the daycare.
So within 31 minutes of her leaving work, she was dead.
Yes.
And you guys showed up to the PD at
3:50.
3:50?
3:50, 3:55-ish.
So almost 4 o'clock. So you had still not received any calls about your daughter. You would think that you would get a call from the PD saying your daughter's dead in a small community.
Yes.
And you guys didn't receive that. You received something from Mitch saying what kind of medication was she on, because that's the reason why she killed herself. Is that what he said?
Yes, sir. The Sweeny PD did not call us at all. We got a phone call from a neighbor at the apartment complex. My mom made contact with me at 3:20. I had to leave Angleton and drive to Sweeny, and got there around 3:55-ish, and we did not see that first officer or speak to any officer at the police department until after 5 o'clock. It was like 5:05.
Paula, so there was a big lag between the time that the 911 call came through to the time that you were notified.
Yes, sir.
This sounds eerily similar to the Robert Phillips case, when his family wasn't notified for, I believe, 5 hours after his tragic murder in the parking lot of the same apartments with the same PD involved. Why do you think there's such a big lag there? Why do you think they didn't immediately notify you, the next of kin, that your daughter's deceased?
I think it's just lack of caring. The chief doesn't care. The officers don't care.
Well, obviously that's the case, because he came out and the way he treated you from the beginning and the way he notified you that your daughter has passed away is completely unprofessional. And every citizen in the town of Sweeny should demand that man's resignation.
Agreed.
The way that he notified you was absolutely unprofessional. And then the same thing happened with Nancy Phillips and Robert Phillips's tragedy in that same apartment. I don't understand why there's such a disconnect between the Sweeny Police Department and the families of these murder victims. I don't understand it. It blows my mind how that's even a possibility.
They're chicken shit.
So tell us about the 911 call. What was in the 911 call?
I was told that there were multiple 911 calls by multiple different people, and I requested those calls. The only one that was provided to me was the one from Michael, the call that Michael had called, and it went through at 12:01, where as soon as the dispatch answered, he says, "My wife shot herself in the head." I'm reading it. I don't have the audio, so I don't know the tone in his voice or any of that. He says again, "Mama, I didn't mean to stress you out like this, that I told you not to play with guns," which is totally not Michaela. She's not going to play with a gun.
You've already said that she's deathly afraid
Yes.
of guns.
Yes.
And wasn't this gun much larger? Like it was a big gun, and she's a small, petite woman.
Michaela was 5 foot tall and maybe 120 pounds. Michael is 6'4" and 280. The gun chief himself in his office told us there was no way she could hold the grip of that gun and pull the trigger at the same time. No possible way.
So the chief's telling you this stuff.
The chief told us that hours into it, they knew it was suspicious and they never thought it was suicide.
Brad coddled?
Yes. And when I asked that man, then why did it take y'all over 5 hours to even notify Brazoria County? He told me it was because it was called in as suicide and he didn't have to.
He didn't have to.
He didn't have to call and let anybody know.
Did he show up to the scene and work the scene at all?
I never spoke to that man that day. I don't know if he was there or if he wasn't.
He wasn't even at the police department when you
Nope.
showed up. You're talking to a patrolman, Mitch.
Yes. We didn't even speak to the detective.
You didn't have a detective, a chief, a lieutenant. You had a patrolman
Yes.
come out and notify the family
Yes.
in a completely unprofessional manner.
Yes, sir.
So what else was in the 911?
There was an argument over what JP was going to come to make the ruling. They closed the scene, opened the scene back up so that Bethany could go in and get dogs.
So they allowed other people in this crime scene?
Yes.
And Bethany is who?
Michael's sister that lived with them.
So the man that quite possibly murdered your daughter, his sister gets to enter the apartment
To get the dogs.
was she escorted or what?
I don't know. We weren't allowed at the apartments.
So while you're at the police station and you find this out, then what was the next thing after you're notified and that you're told that you will be arrested if you try to go into the police station?
I thought you worked to protect the community and not the killer.
Absolutely. That's his job.
And he smirked and turned around and walked inside.
He smirked at you.
Smirked.
Did you ask for did you ask for his boss or the chief or anybody to talk to them, or did you just
Not at that time.
Where did you go after that?
After we seen the crime scene people get there and they leave to go to the apartment, we also left and we went and hung out as a family.
For 2 hours, you sat outside that police station and then went over there with your family to the apartment complex.
No, we
you-
went to our house.
You went to your house. So the crime scene, Brazoria County crime scene shows up.
Yes.
Crime scene investigating. There's the van.
Yes.
But at this point, they've already allowed the sister to go in and get dogs out of the apartment.
And Michael was already back at the apartment complex.
The guy that possibly killed your daughter gets to go back to the apartment complex?
Yes, they took him back at around 5:30. Sweeny PD took him back to the apartment complex.
What kind of protocol is that? Because Michael said it was a suicide. That's the reason why they...
At no point in time in any of this after the fact have we even been called in. Have they asked us anything about how Michaela was, any history on Michaela? The Sweeny Police Department has not talked to us about anything.
No police station would ever allow this to happen with a potential crime scene. And Sweeney's allowing just anybody to willy-nilly go in and out of that apartment. So did you talk to anybody at the apartment complex about this, about what happened there that day?
It was later on that I received a message from a girl that Bethany and Michael had went to stay with after being released back over to the apartment complex. They went and stayed with her. And they had a big barbecue and were drinking. He had got to talking about the event and what took place and how they were arguing over an Amazon package.
Michaela and Michael were?
Yes, they were arguing because the Amazon package wasn't delivered. He had ordered something and it wasn't delivered when it was supposed to be. And she had told him that she wasn't going to deal with it. She was going back to work for him to deal with it. And then this is the story that this Shelby gave us. And that
And this is somebody that lives in the apartment complex?
yes, that Michael and Bethany had went to go live or stay with on the days after.
After the death?
Yes. That they had got to arguing and he grabbed her and pushed her up against the wall and choked her and strangled her. And he had to shoot her because you couldn't make strangulation look like suicide.
You couldn't make strangulation look like suicide. That's what he admitted
That's
to
what
Shelby?
He admitted to Shelby and her husband.
And would Shelby be willing to testify to that statement?
She said she would. Her husband, Sean, said he would. They also turned over statements to Sweeny PD. They went to the police department and made those statements.
How has Sweeny PD been with you since this tragedy? Have they been responsive? Emails, phone calls?
No. There's been no communication. We would call, either they weren't in the office or they would call you back. If you showed up, they were always too busy.
You walk into the lobby, what would you ask for?
Could we speak to the chief? Can we speak to the detective? We never, the entire time, never spoke to the detective. Not one single time. We talked to chief twice.
Who was the detective over the case?
Barnett.
So you would walk into little bitty Sweeny Police Department and ask to speak with somebody about your daughter's murder, and nobody would talk to you?
Nobody.
How many times would you say you tried to do that?
3, 4. We make multiple phone calls every other day and get nothing.
A complete disconnect.
Yes, nothing.
Did you ever try to reach out to the district attorney, Tom Selleck?
Not in the beginning. We reached out to the crimes victim people first, just because in my job, I had that report with them, reached out and asked them, hey, what should we do? And they are the ones that recommended us reach out to the DA's office. We had that meeting with the DA's office. Mr. Tom Selleck told us, they were having to build a case from ground zero because Sweeny hadn't turned over anything to them. There was no report. There was approximately 200 pictures that were probably a 4x2 square that was turned over to them as evidence.
They didn't even turn over a police report?
No.
Was there gunshot residue on Michael's hand? Did they do that test at least?
They said that they did, but the tests come back that there was multiple prints on the gun. So Sweeny PD told us that they were getting a subpoena to get Michael's DNA. They did say that there was gun residue on Michaela's hands. They said that there was gun residue on Michael's hands. But we also were told that when the cops showed up, Michael's hands were already bagged.
His hands were bagged?
Yes, when the PD showed up.
When Sweeny PD shows up, his hands are already bagged. Why would his hands be bagged before the cops show up?
And then the neighbor behind them said that she heard the gunshot and went to knock on the door. And when Michael answered the door, he had the gun in his hand and his hands were bagged. That come from the neighbor behind them.
Would they testify to that in court?
They also gave statements to the PD.
So all these statements went to Sweeny PD, yes, and they still are considering this a suicide.
He still has not been charged.
Do you think Michael has any connections to Mitch Farrell, Brad Cottle, anybody in the community? I mean, he's from Florida, right? So,
yeah. I don't know that there's any connection. It's just Michael was a smooth talker and he could bullshit anybody to believe anything until you were around him a few times and then you would see the real Michael.
Speaking of the real Michael, let's get into that whenever we get back. But right now we need a commercial break. So hang tight. I appreciate you.
Okay, thank you.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Need a barn built to last? At Stuckey Barns in Brazoria County, Texas, we blend quality craftsmanship with rugged durability and Texas pride to make your dream barn real. From custom barns to metal buildings, we build strong, local, and backed by a hometown service. Need bold, high-quality ink? Seven Souls Tattoo Studio has you covered. We're obsessively clean and professional, guiding you from idea to unforgettable art. Got old ink? We'll transform it into stunning new work with precision and creativity. Drop by 7 Souls at 20 Circle Wave in Lake Jackson, Texas. Boat season's here. Is your ride ready? At Liquid Rides in Brazoria, we handle certified marine repairs and full engine builds. We're your Mercury Marine and PCM dealer, keeping you smooth all year. Plus, custom stereo installs for boats, vehicles, side-by-sides, and Jeeps. Liquid Rides, custom audio, certified performance, built in Texas. Looking for real coverage from real people? Whether it's your home, car, or business, go see Landra Olson's team at Farmers Insurance in West Columbia, Texas, where hometown service meets top-rated protection. Spring's here, and it's time to get those flower beds and gardens in shape. Rifles Feed and Supply in Brazoria has soil, mulch, and everything you need to make your yard pop, plus the best feed and supplies for your animals. Fentanyl is taking our loved ones' lives every day, but knowledge can save them. Travis's Voice is dedicated to raising awareness, educating communities, and preventing future tragedy. To learn more, go to travis'svoice.org.
And now, back to the Kevin Henry Podcast.
Welcome back. And we're here with Paula and Betty, which is Michaela Jeffries' mother and grandmother. Paula, tell us, in your mind, you're thinking he did it. This is the guy that killed your daughter. Tell us what his demeanor was on the days after.
We never seen him. We have not seen Michael since at all. I just have messages from different people at the apartment complex stating that when they let him go the first day, that he was walking around telling everybody that Sweeny would never find the evidence, that they would never be able to charge him with anything.
He was walking around with a gun threatening them, everybody at the apartment, not to say a word. And then that Saturday night, we got a message that him and some other guys were sitting outside and they all had guns.
Would any of these people be willing to testify to that, do you think?
I don't know who the people were.
I have one guy, Travis, that was at one time dating Bethany, and
Bethany is the
Michael's sister.
That lived there.
That lived
correct?
with
Okay.
them, yes. Travis was also, he said, he thought was Michael's friend. Michael pulled a gun on Travis and told Travis, you better never talk about it.
So that shows his mentality. He's not afraid of the law. He's not afraid of just putting guns in people's faces and threatening. How long did he stay in that apartment after the fact?
Questioned him again on November 20th. They're at Sweeny PD. They again released him, and he left that night from the apartment.
5 days after the murder?
Yeah, Shelby, the girl that he previously stayed with, she said she couldn't take it anymore. Her protection for her own children. So she told him he had to go. So he went back into the apartment and was staying at the apartment until the 20th when they questioned him again. And as he was leaving from that interview, Chief Brad told us that he looked back at him and asked him, when are you coming to pick me up with that warrant?
Michael asked Brad Cottle, the chief, when you're coming to pick me up.
Yes.
What do you think he meant by that?
He knew he did it. He knew.
And he was just flaunting that you're not going to be able to get me?
That you're not,
Yes.
ha, 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 I got away with it.
All right, so this guy leaves town. He skips town 5 days after because he got kicked out of the place he was staying, went to the apartment, and then left town. Him and his sister left town, correct?
Yes.
His half-sister?
Yes. I was told that the reason that they ended up leaving because they had made communications with Shelby again, and Shelby had reported that Bethany said they had cleared out the living room and brought the mattresses out of the bedrooms into the living room and took turns sleeping because they thought we were going to come after them.
That shows signs. I mean, that's signs of guilt right there. Just that by itself. So when he left town, he skipped town. Where did he go?
Rosenberg. That's where his father lived.
So he went to Rosenberg. And is that the last you heard of him?
Yes. That his car was abandoned. Chief told us that they had took off. So we, knowing that he was in Rosenberg, my husband and I went and drove around Rosenberg, found his car.
So you're having to do the police work yourself.
Yes.
Nobody's helping you, so you're taking matters in your own hands.
Yes.
So I heard a story about him going to West Texas. Does that sound familiar?
Yes, he went up to San Antonio. They were working the carnival, like a carnies, with his dad. And they had went to San Antonio. A girl from San Antonio eventually reached out to us, or to me, over TikTok and said that there was a guy, I think she said his name was Jason Jones, but his picture looked a lot like the man that I had on my TikTok video that murdered my daughter. I reached back out to her and I was like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? And she was like, if I send you a picture, can you verify that this is the same person? The same picture she sent me was the picture that I had posted on that TikTok video. So I didn't automatically respond because I was like, this is somebody trying to get information from me to see what I would say. And then she sent me another picture, a picture that I had never posted anywhere. It was taken in my front yard, and my Michaela had been cropped out of this picture. And I was like, yes, that's Michael Logan Tyler. And she says, I knew it. I knew he was lying to me.
So he was shacked up with her.
Yeah, he was staying with her, but she told me that they had been staying at a Motel 6 and that he was only there a few days and then they would make quick trips to Florida and then come back and be at the Motel 6. She said, she told me that she felt that they were drug trafficking. I don't have any confirmation of that. That's just what she told me. And then she said that she had confronted Michael with the findings after we confirmed the pictures. She had dug through my Facebook, Michael's Facebook, and she's seen where Carissa was on my friends list, and she reached out to Carissa.
Who is Carissa?
Carissa is Michael's older half-sister.
Is she in Florida or?
She is in Illinois.
Okay.
Carissa and her built this timeline of how long he had been gone and all this, and it matched up the timeline that I had made on how long he had been gone. She said so she had called him over for dinner and confronted him with that news, and she said he turned into a monster, punched a hole in her wall. She called the cops, and he took off. That's when Kendall County found him and Bethany at in a park where the homeless, and come to find out they were homeless in San Antonio at this park. And that's where Kendall County picked up Michael. And he's got the resisting arrest, evading, and false information to a fugitive, or whatever.
So he was a convicted felon?
Yes. Now finding out he's got multiple cases of domestic violence in Georgia, West Virginia, Florida, and now in Texas.
How many roughly would you say?
I think they said it was like approximately 17 cases.
17? And they're assaults,
batteries.
Family violence?
There's currently an active warrant out of Florida for 2 counts of battery.
You said West Virginia, Florida,
Georgia, and now Texas.
And now Texas. All dropped the ball and let this monster loose over and over again. That's why he is not afraid of anything, because nobody's going after him. Nobody. They're not doing their job. They're not investigating the crime scenes. They're not protecting the victims. I feel like everybody in Sweeny should show up to the city council and stand up and demand resignations immediately for allowing this monster. He could have left there and went and killed somebody, and it would have been that blood would have been on Sweeney's hands.
Yeah, Shelby even come forth and told me, he said, if he ever seen me, I was next. So afterwards, my pistol still stays by my side. I don't do anything by myself.
She told you that
Michael said that if he ever seen me, I was next.
I'm sorry. I mean, this is complete bullshit of what's going on in our court systems, in our police departments, and nobody's doing anything to protect the victims or the families. That's why nobody feels safe anymore in these communities. Sweeny used to be a really amazing community. I don't know the population, but it's 2,000 or 3,000 at the most, right? So
yeah.
Small community. Everybody knows each other. Now, within 6 months or 7 months, there's been 2 tragic, brutal homicides in the Windmill Apartments in Sweeny, Texas. Both cases, families weren't notified for over 5 hours in both cases. And you're not getting any answers from Sweeny Police Department and Brad Cottle. And this guy, Mitch, is the one that's notifying you. Have you sent public information requests to Tom Selleck for all the information and documents so you can piece this together yourself because they're not doing it?
I sent the original request back in December 6th, and received a letter back from Tom Selleck's office the 20th of December.
So you sent it on the 6th, and you didn't get response until the 20th. They have 10 days to give you that information.
Yeah, and the only thing in that was telling me that they could give me the report from an auto where Michael had parked his broke down truck on the side of the road and it got stolen.
Why is that all they would give you?
That's all I've ever got.
Were they saying it's still open investigation?
Yes.
Who's investigating it? If the Sweeny PD is not taking statements, who's investigating your daughter's murder?
Right now, it's currently sitting at the DA's office, pending. They're building it from ground zero from Sweeny.
If you live in Sweeny, if you live anywhere and you're listening to this story, you have got to hold your public officials, your police chiefs, your city council, your city managers, and everybody accountable. And you have to go out and stand in city council and demand justice. I am sorry this is going to... You're not getting any information. Now you're trying to do your own police work, and they won't even give you the documents to do the police work.
And when I asked the chief for them, his response to me was, probably not a good idea because you know how to read between the lines.
What does that mean?
Because of the job that I do, I look at police reports every day, all day. What are you trying to hide, was my question.
Where do you go from here? What's your next step?
I have went to the city council myself, June 17th. I went, and you have 3 minutes to speak on what you want to do. You have to request to be put on the agenda to have an unlimited amount of time to
They gave you a whole 3 minutes to discuss your daughter's tragic murder.
And then you have to wait a whole nother month to be able to fully go into details on what you want done. Then they tell you have to make a formal complaint, not just a verbal complaint.
Who's the city manager? Is that David Jordan?
Yes.
So David Jordan's your city manager. Dusty Hopkins is the mayor. Brad Cottle's the chief of police. Mitch Farrell was the officer that wasn't handling the detective work.
He was just the street officer. He was just the officer on duty.
But
It was Detective Barnett.
Which never got back with you about anything.
That has since left the department. Is not working the department anymore.
Why is that?
I was told he left because he asked for help, and the chief told him that they could handle it. He knew Michaela. He grew up with Michaela. He hung out with Michaela. He told chief from day one, I cannot work this case by myself because I know this family. I know her.
And he left.
And he ended up quitting because he said he could not look the families in the face because of he didn't have the support from his own department.
Well, if that don't ring suspicious right there, that something's going on inside Sweeny Police Department, I don't know what does.
And then when we asked after this last conversation with the chief, we asked him, instead of you calling and checking on me because I've been fine for the last 7-8 months, why don't you call and check on your detective? See if he's mentally okay. And he was told that's the least of his worries.
Who said this?
Chief.
Cottle? Brad Cottle said
Yes.
that's the least of his worries?
It's the least of his worries. He's no longer part of that department.
It sounded like he went to bat for Michaela and he was told stand down is what it sounds like just from my assumptions.
And when I asked, I said, I know for a fact the Texas Rangers were called. A buddy of ours called them. The Texas Rangers were there. The DA was there. The investigators were there from day one.
The Texas Rangers and the DA were on the scene?
And was told to back down. And so when I asked Tom Selleck at our meeting, why? Why should the little town of Sweeny have more jurisdiction and say-so on who handles a case than the DA? They don't want to cause a stink between the departments. They help when they're asked to. Well, here I am as the mother asking you for your help.
And they'd rather an 8-year-old boy get a story that his mother killed himself.
Yeah.
Instead of the truth of what you guys think is this monster murdered your daughter with a gunshot wound to the head.
Yes.
These people would rather not have a stink.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. And every family member in this county, in this state, should be just absolutely disgusted by this, just like I am. Because I think about this, if I have a 25-year-old son. I think about this, and how old was Michaela? 28?
28.
So basically the same age. I'm thinking about this as if it's my family member, what would you do where are you going to stop at? You don't stop, do you? You keep on going. So you have to keep going, and I hope and pray that you guys get answers. And I hope that there's somebody watching this show, maybe an attorney that can help this family out, help this family and get involved and get this family some answers. Do you have any way that they can contact you, the people in the community?
My cell phone, Facebook.
So Paula, there was some word around that Mitch Farrell was actually running the Sweeny Facebook page. I don't know if you heard that or not.
Yes, I did.
But I heard Mitch Farrell was personally running the Facebook page, and he had set the Sweeny Facebook page up under his personal email. Oh, I think I heard it from the city manager, from David Jordan, actually. He had mentioned that he made them take the Facebook page down because it wasn't an official government page. It was Mitch Farrell's personal page.
Yes.
And since all this stuff, Mitch Farrell has been promoted to sergeant. Since all this stuff, he's been promoted to sergeant. But I'm hearing things about Mitch Farrell's Facebook banter back and forth with the families of the victims. Have you experienced any of that?
I did. I had made a comment on Facebook on someone else's post about just be careful what you do or what you say, because Sweeny PD will cover their own.
Who says this?
That's what I had said originally, that,
okay.
that they just be careful. Mitch come back to me under Steve McGarrett.
McGarrett or something. Yeah, he has an alter ego, but it's still his photos.
The picture is him and his son.
His profile picture and all that,
Yes.
because somebody, after David Jordan told me that, I went and looked it up, and it sure enough it's all Mitch's pictures, but he has another name on Facebook.
So he comes back and is like, I'm glad you have all of your facts. Tell me what we haven't done. So I go and I'm like, okay, AKA Mitch Farrell. We don't have answers. Nobody's talked to us. I listed it all out for them. And then all of a sudden, his little comments are disappeared. They're gone. It's just me looking like I'm the one making the comments to him just randomly.
So in another case, I heard that Cottle's brother, Chief Brad Cottle's brother, had kind of taunted the family in a Facebook post on like Channel 2 News Facebook post or something like that. And somebody asked him, well, what would you know about this murder case? And he says, I was within inches of the body.
Yes.
That's Brad Cottle's brother on Facebook bragging about being at the crime scene. He's a nobody. He's not a police officer. He's not a detective. He's not a crime scene investigator. He's the chief of police's brother. What was he doing within inches of the body at the crime scene? You're getting taunted by an alter ego, but still Mitch's Facebook, basically, because it's all been proven. The city manager of Sweeny makes him take that page down and remove it from Facebook. So now if you go to Sweeney's Facebook page, it's from many years ago. I think the last post was in 22 or 21. That just goes in line with how unprofessional this entire thing, this whole tragedy. That's the worst thing you can lose in life as a child. That goes to show how unprofessional the police department has treated you guys, and you deserve justice. You deserve answers, and I would demand them. I would not back down from city council meetings. I would get the community involved and show up with Paula and show up with Betty and demand resignations. This could be your family member. I'm so sorry. I'm at a loss for words. I usually don't get this fired up, but it's terrible.
Well, you never expect it to happen to your family. I was the last one to see Michaela because she left work. She says she wasn't feeling good. Sweeny is desensitized, I guess, because I grew up there and we never had issues like this. But through the years, they seem to have, because they still have that one unsolved murder from the other apartments that they've never solved. So,
have you guys got any help in law enforcement whatsoever?
No.
So police department, Texas Rangers, District Attorney's Office, Sheriff's Department. What have you reached out to the Sheriff's Department?
The only person I've really reached out to that have done any kind of help has been the District Attorney's Office, and that was just here recently. They did tell us, hey, there is light at the end of the tunnel. He's not getting away with this.
How long ago was that?
The 22nd of May.
So roughly a month ago.
And when I went yesterday to turn over the crimes victims papers, they did inform me that the evidence has been turned over from Sweeny PD. So now they'll be able to go into full force work.
8 months later. 8 months later, the Sweeny PD that's not investigating this finally decides they're going to turn some information over, only because people are putting media pressure on them.
Yes.
Right.
And you guys showing up to city council, talking to David Jordan, talking to Dusty Hopkins, and now they want to give the information to the DA's office, but they didn't want help before?
Yeah.
How do you feel at nighttime when you lay down and you feel like nobody's listening to you? What gets you through all this?
Coulter. I have to keep pushing for Coulter. He lost his mom, doesn't have answers, and has to face the rest of his life not having his mom. So as Mimi, I have to play that role. I have to not let her and the memories that they have die. I have to be her voice. There are times that he will come and spend the night and be like, can I just lay beside you? And I'm like, sure, baby, come on, you know? And he's like, because my mama was a mini you. That's the closest thing I have to my mom. You take him to the cemetery, and before we can get out, he will look over and be like, can I just have 5 minutes? And he will get out and walk up there and sit on the bench and do nothing but cry, and then look back at us and be like, okay, y'all can come up here now. I've had my time. He's 8, all because Michael couldn't let things go. I told Michael from the get-go, if it got bad after finding out that he would never get his kids back, I told Michael then, please just give me your word that if it ever got bad enough to where you felt like hurting her was an option, just let her come home. Call me, I'll come get her. Never got that call.
This is heartbreaking. What about the sheriff? That's our top law enforcement officer, elected official.
I don't trust him any further than I can throw him. I had a dealing with him even before this situation over something that had no relevance to anything.
What was that?
We worked the fair, and we walked in, me and 2 other ladies walked in just to let the dispatch people know we were there to report to work, to monitor the juveniles at the fair. And he was talking to a group of officers and looked at me and was like, excuse me, you're interrupting me. I wasn't even talking to him. And he was like, do you know who I am? No, I don't care who you are.
This was the sheriff?
This was Bo Stallman.
So you obviously don't feel comfortable going to him either. So Tom Selleck, there's a light, there's a little glimpse of hope with the district attorney's office, but not with Sweeny, not with Brazoria County Sheriff's Office, Texas Rangers, any of that.
The Texas Ranger was in on that meeting with the DAs. He was frustrated. He was upset. He wanted to know why we were never interviewed. We talked about details that they had no idea of.
Have you turned all this information that you've gathered, being your own police force and Michael's sister that's helping you, have you turned it all to the DA?
Yes.
So they have everything. Everything that we just talked about is sitting at the district attorney's office right now. Now we demand that the district attorney's office prosecute this monster. The community needs to get involved, and we'll put District Attorney Tom Selleck's office number on the screen. We're doing this because we want to get people's stories out. Coulter, if don't do it for anybody else, do it for Coulter. Call the district attorney's office and demand that this monster gets prosecuted to the fullest, so Coulter gets some answers and that he doesn't have to go around and think that his mother killed herself, and Paula and Betty and the rest of their family get answers. But please call district attorney's office, Tom Selleck, and demand that this monster He's back in Brazoria County Jail now because of the arrest.
He is currently there. We have asked when that charge would possibly be there, because if he gets released from Brazoria County, Kendall County does have a hold on him. But I honestly feel that if he is ever set foot out of another jail, he will be gone forever. We will never see him again.
So Michael's sitting in Brazoria County Jail currently on what charges?
He is in there for animal cruelty. When he left, five or six dogs in kennels, multiple dogs in a few kennels, no food, no water, from the time he left on the 20th till the time they found those dogs on the 27th.
How does that make you feel, knowing that they'll lock him up for cruelty to animals, which is, don't get me wrong, that's terrible in itself.
But they won't lock him up for
him.
taking her life.
Exactly. Absolutely disgusting. You guys have a nonprofit, right, for Michaela?
We do. It is called Michaela's Strength. She has a Facebook page. It is Michaela's Strength.
We'll put it up on the screen, and if you guys want to help out, then please go there. If you guys want to give the family any words of encouragement, please do so. We'll start a hashtag Justice for Michaela. Please, community, get involved. All my followers, I'm sure they're just as disgusted as I am, because I don't usually ever get this fired up about much of anything. Please like and share this show. Hashtag Justice for Michaela. And let's get this thing all over. Let's get it viral. Let's get it all over the community. And let's get this family some answers. Let's get Coulter some answers. Coulter's 8 years old. Coulter does not need to live the rest of his life with his mother's death certificate saying suicide, or him
Under investigation.
Under investigation, cold case. It needs to be murder one. It needs to be, this monster is behind bars forever, and we have got to get involved. You have to get active. Everybody always wants to know, what can I do? Share the episode. Hashtag Justice for Michaela. Offer the family some encouraging words. If you know anybody or anything, if you're an attorney that wants to help get involved, please reach out to Paula. Reach out to me if you can't get a hold of Paula. I will give you Paula's number myself. But do something, people. We have to get this family some answers. Guys, I'm so sorry for everything that you've gone through. God bless both of you guys and the rest of your family, and obviously Coulter. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing this tragic story.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you.